Here's me working away, making progress on this bow and not recording it. So I should probably make a video, shouldn't I? Hello and welcome, my name is Seth, this is Sweet Chariot, and this is a Yew Maruki Iyumi. Another self-bow design. If you don't know, it's a Japanese longbow. A short Japanese longbow that is normally much longer than this. But I've made it anyway. We're making a short Maruki. How do I... yeah. I caught myself out before when I made one of these. I tried to make it shoot Kyudo. Now, Kyudo, I'm chucking out all these Japanese words. Kyudo is the martial art of archery. And they use these really long drawing bows and they sort of draw it all the way past their face with these massive arrows. And I sort of got into my head that I should be making one of those, forgetting the fact that I was also making a Yew Selfbow, which is not a bamboo bow, in the same way that ash can't do what yew can do. Yew cannot necessarily do what bamboo can do. Bamboo is an extremely capable material. And I found some the other day, some real nice arrow shoots. Yeah, I'm going to get some more of those and make some bamboo arrows to match this thing, which is coming along well. Where am I now? Where was I last? I mean, it's probably a better way to put it. It was a blank, wasn't it? Yes. Yeah, we were really boxy. I hadn't taken any tapers down. I hadn't put any knocks on. I hadn't done any shaping or tillering, and I've done all of those things now. So, what was the key to this? The Maruki, the asymmetrical longbow. I think you can do it in various different fashions. It all comes down to the way that you tiller it. But I've gone for a 2-to-1. So this top limb is exactly twice as long as the bottom limb. And that means that it has to do twice as much bending as the bottom limb does. It's funny working on it because you get to the bottom limb and you go, oh, this is easy. It's tiny. But it's more complicated than that. You've got to, at the same time, match this guy to it. So you can't just make a tiny limb and go, there you go. It has to be a tiny limb which is half the power of this one. And I can't get in a tillering tree either. Might be able to actually. This is a shorter one. It needs some jiggering maybe. So yeah, this is what's caught me out before. And the last one I did, it was drawing okay, but they always do if they're back set. So the trick is get a skateboard out of the way. The trick is to get them front set and properly tillered so they're bending from that front set position. Yeah. So I did that. That was it. I did that, and I didn't take into account the extra pressure that was going to be put onto the bottom limb. What did I do? Yeah, straightened out the top limb, this big long top limb, and through doing that, it created a lot more force onto the bottom limb, which you didn't want to do. What I should have done was taken more material away from the top limb as I front set it. So I've tried to keep that in mind with this one. But yeah, what else did I do here? I mean, yeah, I did the handle as well. That was today. That was the start of today. I narrowed down this handle. The stave, so the handle was as wide as the stave. So we are 1 3/4 inches. Just under 1 3/4 inches. The handle is now 1.5. Yeah, we could probably go thinner than that. Just a smidge. I'm gonna take it down to 1 inch, 1 1/4 maybe. Oh, hang on, sorry. Oh no, sorry, I read that wrong. No, we are 1 1/4 inch at the handle. Yeah, 1 inch looks death-defyingly slim because we haven't got a massive amount of material here. So yeah, I might take an 1/8 of an inch off maybe. Either side, just slim it down just a touch. That has created. I didn't actually bust out the tape measure to do this. I just went by feel. But there's a flat spot of what, like 5 inches, and then like 1 inch. Yeah, it's like 1 inch taper up the base of the limb there. Real basic handle on your Japanese longbow. Squared off is good. Narrow is good because you twist the thing out of the way. Then what was the? Yeah, I got the knocks done last night, and I'm playing around with those a little bit now because I want to drop the brace height just a little bit with the string I've got. So I'm going to drop the shoulders of these just a little bit at both ends, and also flatten down the back. And again, putting tip overlays on there is going to boost that brace height back up again. So I will need to order up a different string for this one. I thought the Maruki wanted a string that was 4 inches shorter, but then again, this isn't a proper Iyumi, which may be where I got the string reading from. So I think this one's 3.5 inches shorter or 3 inches shorter. It's probably 3 inches shorter, come to think of it. That's what I'm trying to sort of chase back down to. I think my string is 1/2 inch too short. Let's get that the right way around. My brain doesn't work with that. Yeah. So 3 inches shorter than the knocks is where my is what string length should be. But if you had strings, you wouldn't have to worry about this. I'm just being daft. So I could just carry on knowing that my brace height is high because my string is too short. I might just do that, to be honest. But then again, I'm going to put tip overlays on, so it is going to... dealer's choice. I might take it down a little bit. But then I don't want to create too much of a chasm here. I did know this. I did know that my string was 1/2 inch too short. Short? Yes. But I marked it this way anyway. And it gets more strings. Right, cool. You're yammering, Seth. What next? Yeah, well, what am I doing right now? Right now, I am front setting this bottom limb. Unstrung. This limb was in quite a nice position, but the bottom limb was back setting quite a lot. So, I've put that in place on my form here. Yeah, it doesn't fit exactly, but it accommodates the bow nicely, so you can then jig it and shim it and do the changes you need to. It's pretty cool. We'll give it just a few more minutes, I reckon, and then it should be safe to take out. Yeah, heating it up. I use a heat gun. I should be using steam. I will be using steam on the future. In the future. Because down at the end here, there is a tiny little recurve crack in the belly of my bow. Goes through maybe 2-ply. It's not the end of the world, but it's definitely not what you want. That is really rubbish. It's not going to be able to get rid of it unless you sand through all those layers, and then that makes the limb too thin. I thought I was safe, but there's a knot just a little bit down, a couple of inches down from the crack. I'll get it out the clamp and show you in a minute. So it didn't allow the bit of material between the knot and the crack to bend much, so it put stress on one point. It's really annoying. It's really annoying because it's not a functional write-off, but it is now imperfect. I mean, these things are imperfect anyway, but to have a builder's imperfection on it, that's a little bit lame. Final option being and get some of this birch bark. Not this birch bark because it's cracked and way too dry. And just do a bit of a dressing down the back there, just at the tips. Just to cover my shame. It's just so teeny tiny, but it stands out like a sore thumb if you know what you're looking for. Shall I take this out? Let's take this out of the jig and see what we've got. Yeah, when you heat it up, either with steam, as you should, or with the heat gun, you are just heating up the resin in the wood, the glue that glues all the fibers together. And that allows it to bend much easier. And then when it cools down, the glue sets. And there we go. I was bending from this point here quite abruptly. So most of my bend is built into my limb here. I may well need to put a little bit more in there actually, since we've front set it a bit. So I'll take the sandpaper to that. Where is my sandpaper? I can do a little bit of it right now. I got plenty of sandpaper. I was after a very particular bit. Hands up who can't get rid of their sandpaper, because you might need it. That's pretty delicate. You can see by the growth rings here where it's high. And then you spin them on its side, keeping in mind that we got the raised point up here to look after this knot. Hopefully stop that from exploding. It can be surprisingly strong. And surprising is the word I would attach there when they decide to be weak. But we can do it some favours and just leave it a bit of a mound. And encourage it on the back here. So yeah, there's my little crack running across here. I see the wood is still good and strong. That has been the end of many a good stave. It's a risky moment when you reflex it, which is why I should use steam and give it the best chance. Even then, you're playing a risky game. Just a bit wide here. I don't think I'll be able to string it in this video. It's still a little bit warm for that. And just knowing that this has now gone, because I was trying to get rid of the crack, it has now gone quite thin here. So I need to make sure that isn't doing all the bending. That's what I mean, the little limb you'd think is easy, but no, you've got to make sure it's strong, but it also bends. I see your master Japanese bowmen, your dudes who make the Iyumi, they know exactly the proportions. Because you're trying to make this obviously bend twice as much as the bottom one. There is a sort of a curve. I'm sure there is numbers that you could crunch to make sure that you're getting the correct amount of material, to make sure that it's happening as it should. But bamboo is a completely different material to work with. And who knows, might get there in the future. That'd be nice, huh? Exploring all these different techniques. Oh, I'm so bummed out about that little crack. will get over it. If I can do a nice job covering it with birch. Like there. When I last drew this, before I changed the limb here, it felt around £30, maybe a bit over. Be interesting to see how it changes. A thumb drawing bow, that's pretty cool. Yeah. This style of shooting is difficult. It's looking really nice though. And you get it strung and it takes that sort of pear-shaped look. Is that fair? You could even put it next to my other Iumi bow and see how it's shaping up. And see this one has a curve here. So we've got a deflex and a reflex. Yeah, this one's starting to be troublesome. It's sort of have no power and just gave me a big bass note. It is a tiny piece of yew, so I don't know what I expected from that, to be honest. It did something for sure. But if I'm struggling with this one, aiming for this shape might not be a bad idea. But we'll see how we do. Yeah, it might be a case of tillering through. That is the shape, you know. Handle back, limbs forwards. Living in the past, Seth. Quit living in the past. Alright. Sort yourself out, Seth. Let's oil it. I haven't done that. Washed it off with water through its sandpaper. Oh, steady. Did I just ruin my frame? Sorry if I changed it there. Oh, and sorry if I haven't been particularly enthralling. It's been a long day. Tidied up the workshop first. There's a messy pile of sandpaper there. That's all the sandpaper gathered up. Yeah, spread that out. Always maybe help it cool down a little bit. Always a satisfying moment. Give it a bit more. It's going to soak it all up since this is its first oiling. Ooh, too much. And you put too much oil on there, just go over to another bit of woodwork that you got and give it a quick oiling. God damn it. Yeah, not deep enough to cause it to fail, I wouldn't think. But deep enough that you're going to see it. It's really annoying. Like I say, nice piece of birch bark. Running down. Ah, it's cold and annoying. Running down like this. I think is my only option now. Because we've got a working bow. Now if we can cover it up and make it look good, I'm down. I can roll with that. I mean, this is a bit of a concept for me. It's hard enough making symmetrical bows, let alone this one. Like I say, with the Iyumi, there's a standardized way that they make it, and it's like the way that they make other composite bows. Lay it up with various materials that bend in various ways and have different properties. Whereas these Yew Selfbows are somewhat audacious. One piece of wood. To remember, they are just one piece of wood. Ow. I tidied up my paper. See, now this is why we don't tidy up. Get the things that you need. Use leather instead. I hope everyone is well. I should say this more often. Hello. Welcome to everyone who has joined me, subscribed, all of this stuff. Comments. The friendly comments, been awesome. Why am I doing this? Because we need to keep on doing this as human beings. We genuinely believe the planet has issues. We got to remember the way that we lived in harmony with it for thousands of years. Real quick, we need to remember. And this was a big part of it. So it takes you through your knowledge of the forest, your physical ability to access wood, work on it, the skills that you need to do that. And then once you've learned and applied those skills, you then have another skill to learn, which is archery. And then another skill on top of that, which is hunting. Then another skill on top of that, which would be butchering your quarry, butchering your kill. And then another skill after that would be cooking. So there's a huge amount of humanity tied up in these things. I can't stress it enough. And this is a lovely example of the exact same process that just happened on a different continent, different part of the world. And I hope my attempt has worked. My English yew Japanese longbow. It's not actually English yew. I think it's common yew or fast growing yew or maybe Pacific yew. I'm not sure. I'm not smart enough. What I do know is that it's yew, and it has made a bow and shot arrows. Shot arrows well today. Yeah, shot my hazel arrows really nicely, which they're 340 grains, which is what suggests to me that this is around 30 pounds, this bow. I'm sorry I can't string it up. Next video, hopefully, if it doesn't break, this change hasn't destroyed it. That'll be the next video. Yeah, what I was doing as I started this video was, as I was waiting for this to cool down, knowing that this was now going to store more energy, resist the other limb more, and knowing that having got my buddy to pull the bow, and I saw how the tiller was working, that tip was bending more, quite a bit more than this one was. And what I know is that this limb has to bend more than that limb. So as I was waiting, after having put more energy into that bow, so more resistance, if you will, into that bow, I just happily started working on the taper. Ooh, this oil has worked lovely straight away. Yeah, just happily started taking material away from the tip up here. Just working it into the taper, thin to fat down here. Yeah, I've come on quite a way. Sorry I haven't kept you updated. There was 2 long ones to start with, and then I just sort of hacked through it, made good progress, and I was chomping at the bit. I saw the light at the end of the tunnel. Ah, that crack though. God, it's infuriating. Next time, don't do it. Simple as that. We'll get some tip overlays on here soon. I want to shoot it a bit with a good low brace height before doing that, and having to get a new string to make it shoot properly again. Knowing that a low brace height means good arrow speed. Yeah, it's all shaping up real nice. I'm going to start picking out any high or low spots, but I think we are good. Maybe a little one here. Beautiful. I hope I haven't ruined it again. How you can get better without testing out these things? I guess I could do more research. I got sort of sick of watching YouTube videos. There is so much knowledge to soak up here. If you were just to sit and try and learn it all through videos and books, you would never get anything done. So hands-on it is for me. And thank you for joining me while I go ahead and do this. I want to shoot this again tonight. Resist. Beautiful. Thanks again, everyone. I'll see you in the next one.